Hard to believe, but it's time for the final Daily Racing Form Breeders' Cup workout report for the 2022 Breeders' Cup. Hi, I'm Mike Welsch. The Breeders' Cup report, as always, brought to you by Spendthrift Farm, the home of 2020 Classic winner Authentic, whose first foals will sell, whose first weanlings will sell in November. I'm here on a turf course, as you could see. There is some concern about the condition of the course. I don't know if you could get a good look at it. It's a little wet on the foot here, and it could become a major player in the Breeders' Cup races on Friday and Saturday. Some horses may like it, some horses may not. It's hard to tell. You would think the Europeans would prefer the little bit softer ground, but that all remains to be seen. Today was the kind of the maintenance day. Everybody just trying to keep their horses happy and healthy, either 1 day or 2 days removed from their respective Breeders' Cup races. And it kind of ran the gamut of training styles. Everybody seems to have a different tack, the way to go the days before. Most taking the conservative route with regular routine sessions today. But we had a few who did step it up. And one of those was trainer Doug O'Neill, who is not shy about letting his horses roll in the morning between races. And the most notable for me that I saw today, and of course a lot of this activity took place either in the dark or in the fog. We did have some fog descend over the track right after the track reopened after the renovation break around 8 o'clock. It also got chillier at that time, temperatures slipping into the low to mid 40s. But the one horse I did see early today, it was in the dark, was Vegas Magic. And boy, was Vegas Magic flying around there today. Went a mile on my watch in 1:51.1. You talk about going in a 2-minute lick. This was way faster than that. You could just see him motoring around there even in the dark. So a good day for Vegas Magic. Another horse who did a little more than usual today, and it's one of my favorites here this week, and that's Blue Stripes. Blue Stripes had one of the best, at least in my mind, pre-Breeders' Cup workouts here after shipping in from California. Hadn't done too much coming out of that work until this morning, but she was at a 2-minute clip. I love what I saw from her today. She had her jockey, regular jockey, in the saddle today. And I just thought she made a really good impression. She's going to be a huge price in that very tough distaff race, but I think she's coming up to her best race yet. If she's good enough to win, that remains to be seen. The Charles Appleby Team Godolphin group was out this morning right after the renovation break. They trained on the turf yesterday. They were out on the main track today, and they continue to look just terrific, all 7 of them. They were allowed to pick up the pace a bit more today. Not quite 2-minute licking, but going around there pretty good. And the ones that caught my eye, Nation's Pride, Modern Games, and particularly Rebels Romance. I love the way Rebels Romance has looked since he's arrived here this week. Not to be outdone by the Godolphin 7, came the Coolmore 7 for trainer Aidan O'Brien. They were also out on the main track after the renovation break. Didn't do quite as much on the track as the Godolphin team, but they were going along at a pretty good clip. All 7 of them in usual Aidan O'Brien style, spread out across the racetrack as they came down the stretch to complete their work. And then they all proceeded to go to the paddock for a little schooling session. None of them seemed to turn a hair. They've all adapted very well since getting out of quarantine earlier this week. We couldn't discuss the any overview of the training sessions here, the Breeders' Cup training sessions, without talking about the classic horses, and of course without starting with Flightline, who had another terrific morning today, just full of energy again. Started off a little slower than usual on his gallop, which came right after the track opened, as usual at 6:05, but he picked it up late, as we're accustomed to see here, maybe a little bit more today than in previous days, before pulling up after about 1 3/8 on the far turn. Another good day for Life is Good. I thought a little bit more relaxed. He never really relaxes, but he was a little bit more relaxed today, I thought, until turning into the backstretch before completing his morning work. Got a little more aggressive there, but he's looked good coming out of that work here last Saturday. One horse who in the Classic that may be flying a little under the radar is Olympiad. This is a really good horse, but he's kind of been overlooked here, considering all the attention focused on Flightline, Life is Good, some of the others. Olympiad did have all his pre-work. One reason for that is he had all his heavy work for the Classic back at Saratoga before shipping locally. But he's looked good every single day I've seen him, as have all the Bilmont runners. While Life is Good, Malathat and Ness might be the most talked about of the Todd Pletcher horses, he's got plenty other big guns or loaded guns here for Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. Two of them that I really liked this morning were Atomically, who he just added to his barn several weeks ago after a big race down in Florida, and Lost Ark. I really like what I saw of Lost Ark this morning coming out after the renovation break, kind of mixed in with the Godolphin bunch, but he really caught my eye today as well. One worker today, one official worker, Malavath, on the turf for the dirt mile. Went 5/8 on my watch in 1:05 and change, just kind of cruising around there early. Was let run down the stretch, came home in 24 and change. And unlike most of the Europeans when they work or even gallop here, he was on his proper lead, the right lead coming down the stretch. Most of them, you see, are on that left lead coming down the stretch. Other horses that went on the turf today didn't do too much. A couple did blow out. Pogo, Flotus, Highland Princess among that group. And also, there was one more. Hold on. We'll get to it. The last one of the bunch was Emirati Anna, who did the most of that group, too, aside from Malavath. Emirati Anna went 3/8 from the 8th pole around the turn. So that's pretty much it. Tomorrow there will be some gallopers for Saturday's card. Obviously, the first day of the Breeders' Cup races are tomorrow. And we are done here, but the coverage is going to continue at DRF.com. I want to thank my producers and camera people for making this all possible here. First, Barbara Livingston, who did the first week. Roberto Rodriguez, who took over the reins here last Saturday. Couldn't do these videos without him. I hope they were helpful to you. And again, just keep it here at DRF.com as we go through Breeders' Cup weekend with the best coverage of Breeders' Cup 2022 anywhere.